Hi, everybody. It's 7 p.m. Sunday night. Rev it up, and it's supposed to be Bad Boys tonight, but a couple of our bad boys aren't here. But the ones that did show up were Bob Smith, Jason Irwin, and Jim Gilbert from Nippertown, who I wouldn't consider a bad boy, but
Oh, I've got to work on that then.
you gotta work on it. I think it's something we do when we're younger and then we outgrow it. That's what I think. No,
Yeah.
Jason, you're still a bad boy. I know.
I think, I think there's a point where, some of the stories are definitely don't want my kids to know about. And then
Right.
I think kids changed a lot for me, but I don't know. When I was down in South Carolina a couple years ago, I brought Dakota down for Carolina Rebellion.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Suicidal Tendencies was playing, and I was like, they started doing their Wall of Death, and I was like, okay, Dakota, just stay here and watch. And then I did, and I'm 40 something years old doing the Wall of Death as suicide, but I love Suicidal Tendencies, and
right.
So there's a little bit of that left in us, right?
Oh, of course.
It'll always be.
I don't go to the mosh pits anymore, but I still go to the shows. I just stand on the periphery and not right in front of the stage.
I still enjoy the mosh pits every once in a while. The energy going in the middle. I like just walking through slowly and just feeling the energy and getting bounced off. But again, I go 250 and I'm fine in there. I like it.
I can stand my ground, but I don't like getting, elbowed in the boob and the face and, shoved around. Yeah, I see. Yeah, shoved around. It's not cool anymore.
Elbowed in the face sucks, but man, elbowed in the boob, that just turns me on.
No, that hurt. That really hurt. The best, and I'll tell this story because I've told this story before, but I don't know if I told you guys. My favorite mosh pit was Lollapalooza the first year at SPAC, standing
92.
in front. Yep, standing in front of Trent, right there in the mosh pit, and letting him sweat all over me with his head flipping all the sweat down on me. That's my favorite mosh pit ever. I didn't freaking move. I stood right there in front of him and let him sweat all over me.
So you were on the inside. Some of us were out in the lawn, and that was 91, I think, right? 92 was Chili Peppers and
it was 91 because it wasn't Chili Peppers. It was Iced Tea,
Body Count,
Butthole Surfers.
That was 91.
The first one was James.
Yep, they were there too. Yep.
I remember that Nine Inch Nails show because it was the middle of the day and they had these strobe lights in the middle of the day.
Yes, he did.
It was like bright light, like daylight, and then strobe lights and fog. And I was like,
yep, but I loved that. Well, I was there. I was only there because of him. He was the only one I really went there for. I'd never heard of the Butthole Surfers until I got there. I had no idea. I had no idea who they were.
And then in 92, that's when it rained and we were using the hill as a mudslide.
I'd skip that one.
That was Pearl Jam, and
I skipped that one, and I shouldn't have.
We're talking 91, 92, like early 90s, and
that's about the time you guys would have been young bad boys, okay? Doing the touring thing, and picking up girls after the show, and all that stuff.
Who waited until after the show?
No.
Well, yeah, some don't, but you know what I'm saying. That whole lifestyle that everybody talks about, which not all musicians have, but
I never picked up girls once.
Jason, you're up in the Gene Simmons numbers. You're up in the upper 4 digits, for Christ's sakes.
I'm way better looking than Gene Simmons.
Well, I don't know about that. So I didn't, and I wouldn't even consider Gene Simmons if he was the last man on earth. Actually, no way. After he's been all over the freaking
place.
Talking
about early 90s,
yeah.
If we're talking about early 90s, like 91, 92, Mr. Irwin and I would have been at the same parties, doing many of the same things.
Yes,
Jason actually tried out as the drummer for Shoe.
For Shoe?
Unsuccessfully.
Well, of course, because he's got the greatest drummer.
Yeah.
Mr. Hamill is the greatest drummer.
Yeah, but we used to.
Sorry, all my drummer friends. I really like Eric. He's a really good drummer.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good drummer. In fact, I want to get him on the show one time soon. Anyway, so the scene back in the 90s, around here and the whole lifestyle thing. Now, you've just admitted that you've done some of the same things, but do you believe
Wait a minute, what do you mean by that?
do you believe that the lifestyle is driven by the music, the women, or the crowd, or the booze,
or the drugs at the time?
Because they all change over the years.
80s was like a lot of coke and stuff like that.
A lot of cocaine.
And I was too young for that. Thank God.
Wow,
and then
really?
because I'm 46, so I graduated in 92. So
the big cocaine stuff was over with by then.
So ours was very much
Really?
Yeah.
The 80s was heavy cocaine. I mean, people were doing lines off my DJ booth. It just.
So the 90s was pot, shrooms,
Yep.
mescaline.
Yep.
If I don't know if you guys remember mescaline, peyote, that type of stuff. So that was kind of like grunge. Grunge was kind of coming in and out.
If you did any of that stuff, you don't remember the 90s.
And then jam was coming in and out. So it was kind of like a lot of psychedelics, or maybe that was just the people I was hanging out with, but a lot of psychedelics in the early 90s.
Right. Get the dogs out of here.
My friends and I we're all just a bunch of drunks. So
we
just drank our faces off. That's what we did.
Well, I think that was the biggest.
All the time.
That was the biggest way to self-medicate and still is drinking. But do you think that this lifestyle was driven by that, or do you think it was driven by the crowd and the energy from the crowd, or was it just for you? Was it your music? Because that's the whole point of this.
I think it was music.
Episode.
I don't know. What about you guys?
It was definitely not the music first for me. It was mostly the other stuff, which is apparent if you've listened to any of my music.
Yeah. I have. Many times.
It's not that deep, so obviously I was focusing on some other stuff when I was writing.
3 chords. Mr. 3-chord wonder.
Bob has critiqued me on my writing before.
3-chord wonder.
There's anything about my writing.
But when you hear one of Jason's songs, and like the rest of you guys, if Joe was here, if Mike was here, if you hear one of Jason's songs, it's a Jason song. Just like when I hear Bob, I know it's a Bob song. Because why?
He plays with more than 3 chords.
Jason doesn't play more than 3 chords.
No, I meant Bob.
I know 3.5 chords.
Yeah, my music's just weird.
No, it's not weird. It's well thought out, I think. But you tell me. You tell me. What do you think it is that makes your?
Well, I would say.
Well, who are your guys' influences?
Oh, well, I was actually going to go back and answer your original question there about lifestyle and everything else. I don't think any of it's mutually exclusive. I don't think you could say is it the women or the music or the or anything, because I think it's a matter of personality type being drawn toward a personality or a lifestyle or persona. So I mean, why did I play in a band and drink my face off and party down all the time and have a crazy? Well, one, fun, but also because that's my brain was wired to go that direction already.
Right.
I don't do any of it anymore. Okay. That's a genetic predisposition, I think.
No, it's really hard to get you guys to come out and play. So.
Who's that? You?
Oh, yeah. When was the last time Shu was out there? Yeah. It's been a while.
I think there's a better chance of having a Shu show than a Phillips Head show.
You throw a Phillips Head show once in a while, don't you?
I don't know.
I see it out there.
Well, they're not now. I don't want to start rumors. But these guys are, 25 or more year old bands. They don't come out every weekend. They just don't. They got other things going on. But like, and the same thing with like Mike Trash, who isn't here tonight, and well, not Joe. He's working all the time, but and Mike doesn't come out, occasionally because
you don't even show up for the online thing here.
He didn't even show up for the show tonight. But he said he would come for another show. He had something he couldn't miss.
Even I'm a replacement bad boy for this show. I wasn't even on this thing originally.
Sherry Furness, we're talking about bad boys. We're talking about the topic tonight is about how they came to be their signature sound. And all these guys were all started like, in the early 90s and stuff. So that's what we're talking about. Somebody said that they didn't know what the topic was. The topic is we're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about. I just get a certain group of people in here and let them go. So what was my other question? Collaboration.
I drank my face off in the 90s, and I hung out with a lot of girls, and I wrote some okay songs and had a band, and I enjoyed all of it. And
nothing's changed in 25 years for you.
Less important than any other aspect of that. It was all equally as important. I wouldn't have enjoyed any of those individual elements without the others. That's a fact.
Do you agree, Bob?
Right
you wouldn't have enjoyed Shoe as much as you did if you didn't have all the factors.
I don't know. Like I said, none of it's mutually exclusive. I think that for the most part, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we had a ton of fun. I, in particular, had a ton of fun through pretty much all of the 90s.
And your band is fun. Your band is fun. All we do is dance. We get there and we start dancing, and that's all we do for the whole show. And you guys are fun all the time. It never gets dull, boring, or depressing. Some bands are depressing, but I won't name names.
Yeah.
Shoe
was all sort of. I mean, lyrically, it was always a stream of consciousness, like me just rambling about wackiness in my head and having fun with it, And the music was like a super collaborative effort of like five guys that just that know how to play their instruments and they're having a good time. So it's just
well, let's take Jim's question about influences. Mr. Irwin, I would like to know who your influences are.
Bob.
Besides Bob.
Ridiculous.
No, I believe him. When he likes a local musician, he is not shy about saying it. If he takes stuff from them, absorbs something from them. Definitely.
I don't know about influences. I don't.
Ramones.
I could say I like the Ramones. I like the blah blah blah. I like the blah blah blah. But my music was born out of my own skill set or lack of.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm very limited as far as my guitar skills, and I think I'm an okay singer. So basically, if I just had an idea, that's why a lot of my songs sound similar. But I mean, I think I'm self-influenced because I just had the guitar and I knew how to do this and this and this and this, and this is what happened. I mean, I love the Ramones. I like all kinds of bands.
You like T-Rex?
Yeah, I'm a big Kiss fan too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me the story about how Jeannie gave you the Kiss records.
I want to say the Replacement's so bad, but I know that Bob's going to use that one, so I'm not going to say that one. And
we don't have to disagree on that. I'm 100% with you.
I just love bands that are fast and fun, and maybe a little on the simple side, and have some good melodies, and that's kind of like what I like to do myself. I don't
Tommy Stinson's Pick.
I don't like Stairway to Heaven, and I don't like Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't like songs like that.
There it is, right there. Tommy Stinson's Pick, Even Broken.
Oh, by the way, Bob, I got a whole box of Shoe CDs.
That's pretty good.
Years. Still.
You get a box of Shoe what?
Cassette tapes and CDs.
I didn't.
Cassettes and CDs.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's unbelievable.
like a whole case of them. You left at the show one time.
So while these guys were,
we used to leave them laying around.
So while these guys were doing this thing, in the 90s, and they were on their way up and they're building this sound and whatever. What was going on locally as far as collaboration with each other? I mean, I know a lot of you guys like played on the same bills at like Freddy's or wherever. But how, was there a nice scene with collaboration in it? Because I know in the 80s, everybody was a free-for-all doing their own thing. And there wasn't a lot of that. There was some, but there wasn't a lot. Was it like that for you guys?
Well, yeah, I would say as at least in the Glens Falls area, right? I mean, we were all friends. You had whether it's Phillips Head or Shoe, Cito,
Sheen,
Isaac Jogues, Jacob, Cax Pajamas, all those guys. We used to party together. Like Tom Case had a house on Washington Street in Glens Falls. You'd have to have these massive parties. And like all of the people I just mentioned would be there at these parties. Jason would have big parties. We'd all show up, So yeah, we all knew each other. We, drank from the same kegs, Right.
But did you collaborate on music? And, you collaborated on alcohol, but did you collaborate on music?
Yeah, right.
And
you dated a lot of the same girls.
Well, I know that. I know those stories. I know them all.
Yeah, right.
I've heard. The ones I didn't know, I found out on this next go round about 8 years ago.
I've never been personally a big collaborator.
Well,
the reason why that is because of I just kind of like do my thing, and I'm not really good at jamming. I'm good at like writing a song and playing it. So if somebody like starts jamming something, I'm like, what is that? So it's not personal. I'm not good.
Yeah. One thing that we used to do, I don't know if you guys remember Soho's. It was E. Gillis and it was Soho's and it was Lagoon. So when it was Soho's, I used to host an open mic every like Wednesday night. And it was just this massive party every Wednesday night. But all the local musicians would show up and we'd all jam. We'd all get on stage and, just something stupid. Somebody would start playing All Along the Watchtower and we'd play it for 25 minutes, But I had just had like a bass, drum, guitar rig all set up and a couple microphones. People just get up and rock out. So that was probably the most collaboration, just kind of partying on stage.
Talking to girls during all that.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, we know, Mr. Play. We know
right
Mr.
up.
Playboy. We know all about you. I'm just trying to get a feel for that because I was not here. I was in Syracuse or Binghamton or someplace else that time. But when I came back in the interim,
when were you in Syracuse?
Late 80s. Early 90s.
Oh, so you were living that like the Lost Horizon and stuff.
I was taking DJ jobs in whatever city would have me, pretty much. I went from Lake George to Glens Falls to Albany or Colony, then Albany, then Binghamton, then Syracuse. And I was headed for New York and then I got married. And that's a little story. Yeah, so, hey, that's a question. Tours. And I know Shu has a great tour story, and I won't ask you to tell it, Bob, about the van. So, but let's talk about tours. Jason.
What?
Did you ever do a big tour for Phillips?
No, we didn't ever do like a long, like a tour thing. We never did that. I don't know why. I think we always had members that were rooted, kind of here and couldn't really do that, or I don't know. We did like a couple of weekend things. We played out of the area, but we never really did more than like 2. I think one time we did like 3 shows or something like that, but we never went on tour like that.
How important do you think that is, Jim Gilbert, that they tour?
I think it's, if local bands want to kind of get out of this area or, want to do something with their career, even locally, I think getting out of the area adds credibility. I think it's important. When I've managed bands in the past, it's kind of working at the New England circuit, then the Midwest circuit or whatever. But but I do see that. I mean, I see a lot of local bands that want to play every weekend, and they all play every weekend right around here, and it just oversaturates. But that's my that's my opinion.
Yeah. Bob, how important do you think touring was for you guys?
Well, I think a big deal for us. I mean, we had a weird. We basically just were kind of constant tour. We worked our day jobs. We'd play locally Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, or Wednesday and Thursday night, and hit the road and play Friday, Saturday, and then usually like a frat party on a Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody would drive the van back to Glens Falls, pour me out, and then I'd go to work on Monday morning. That was kind of how we did it every week. Just the way it was.
Oh, I used to work all night.
Kind of our whole deal. So it was very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we loaded up a bus and went down and played in New York City a bunch of times, or went out to Boston and played or something. But we didn't play like 15 shows and then come home. We didn't do that. We did like maybe 3 or something like that.
Do you think it was important to your success? Because you guys both had pretty successful local bands. I mean, so do you think that the getting out of town was helping with your success? Or do you think that the locals are the ones that make you successful?
How do you define success?
Well,
sales?
Yeah.
Sales?
I was going to say
sales and CD sales. And I mean, how many dates a year you get booked? I mean, that's success. I mean, if you want to talk charts, Bob's the most successful because he had a charted song. I don't know if Phillips Head ever did.
Did I?
I thought you did.
I don't know. Well, it depends on
what chart are you talking about?
All right. Well, don't I remember? I think it was Downtown, wasn't it? Was your charted record? I thought it was.
Well, there was some. Yeah, well, there were some neat things then, right? I mean, because we were doing. I've always been a big geek and did everything online, and always was putting music online before Spotify and all that stuff. And there was this site mp3.com that we were on that it was actually pretty popular at the time, and we did really well on that. So that was the closest thing to any sort of charting success. We were like the number one ska song, and a long time ago. But so we did that. But I don't know. Gigging was fun. It was a ton of fun. It made a big difference. If anybody still knows who we are, it's because of that, because we played at their college 25 years ago. And, I would do it all over again. It was a great time. Really.
We were the number
awesome
62nd most played song at the jukebox at Park Street Tavern.
There you go.
Which is now defunct. Because they got evicted because the building was bought. That was sad.
So there's that.
Okay. There is that. But Jason, I mean, how much have you? I mean, you don't have to tell me in financial, numbers wise, but how many CDs do you think you've sold over the years?
Well, we sold a lot of CDs, and they were mostly at live shows, not online or anything like that. So the merch at live shows was always pretty good for us. We would have the typical situation where you have a merch table or something like that.
T-shirts and all that stuff.
Scantily clad girls walking around and selling CDs and stuff like that. And
the little Phillips Head girls. We know all about that.
That always seemed to work, and we did okay like that. But I mean, it's not like
Did Shoe have any shoe girls, Bob?
Yeah, of course. There was less leather and more tie dye in the shoe than in Phillips Head girls would be rock and roll girls. We would have the hippies, So
nothing wrong with hippie girls.
Yeah, right. I'd say though, probably the biggest benefit of all that touring and everything, because it wasn't financial. I mean, nobody made any money, but. I have a recording of me playing at CBGB, and that is the coolest freaking thing I grew up, reading about CBGB, and then I played there, and that was just awesome. And I can listen to everything. That's the benefit of going on this tour.
You two have both played,
do crazy stuff, CBGBs. And have memories of doing.
And now it doesn't exist.
Right on.
But I know that a lot of the jam bands make make all their money on merch while they're when they're out and about. They make all their money on merch.
Sure.
How has that changed over the years? Do you think it's changed from the 90s to now as far as the amount, or how do I want to put it, how important it is to the customers that they get that T-shirt or they get that CD? I don't know. Has it changed, do you think? From then till now?
Thankfully, I think for the bands,
T-shirts
it's
are
still important. Yeah.
It's still important.
Yeah.
I mean, I still always go, not local shows, but some of them I do. I still go to the national, the big time shows, and I always buy a T-shirt or a bandana or CDs or something.
Well,
and sometimes I buy more than one, and sometimes I buy them for all the opening acts too. Just it depends.
For the big bands, the merch is where it's at though, because you can most people just, I won't say most people, but a lot of people, it's easy to get music now without paying for it. So, but it's not. So the music is kind of like a lead in to sell the merch. That's how they make that. How touring bands make their money is on merch.
Which is a lot different than when I started, because CDs actually they were cassettes and records, vinyl. I started with vinyl. Was the stuff that everybody wanted. I need that new record, that new piece of vinyl, really. Like this weekend, I've got to go find it. It's coming out this weekend. I got to go to Record Town.
Tuesdays.
Yep.
They all came out on Tuesdays.
Yeah, and I had to go to Strawberries and get my record that week, coming out that week. I always did that. And I
worked there. I probably sold it.
You probably did.
Yeah.
I miss Strawberries.
I worked at Record Town too.
I miss Strawberries. Strawberries was the greatest. And if my friend Sue is watching, I'm sorry, Record Town sucked. And they were over expensive. So, well, where should we go from here?
I just remember those gigantic boxes that came in.
Yeah.
I remember, I grew up in Herkimer, so we had the Last Unicorn, and Tuesday after schools, the first thing I did was I went to Last Unicorn. It was like, what came in today? Like, just what came in today?
I was like, I got the new Scorpions cassette.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a long box. There's this little tiny cassette at the top.
Oh my God.
And I remember when it was an RCA. Somebody sent me a CD, and I didn't know what the hell it was back in the 80s.
Now people still don't know what.
Yeah. So one of the record company guys sent me.
Yeah, right.
I think it was the RCA guy. Sent me this CD, and I was like, what the hell do I do with that? I had nothing to play this on.
Did you put it on your record player just to see?
I did. I put it on like a 45 because I grew up around 45s too. So I put it on, and I'm like, that doesn't fit the spindle. I don't know what I'm doing. So I called him up. I remember I think it was the RCA guy. And I called him up and I said, what is this thing that you sent me? It was also white label. It didn't tell me who the artist was or anything. And I was like, what is it? Who is it? What do I do with it? How am I supposed to use it in my club? I need vinyl. Send me the vinyl. And he's like, no, Steph, they're going to this now. You better get with it. It's called a compact disc. I'm like, what the fuck? And I really, and now look, compact discs have gone by. In my lifetime, we've gone from vinyl to cassettes. Reel to reel to vinyl to cassettes to CD, compact discs, and now MP3s and 4s, and the compact discs are gone. I can't believe that. It's just like I thought this thing was the greatest thing, and the vinyl came back, which is the weirdest thing. Because vinyl works.
I remember when I was in high school, I worked at Record Town and Strawberries, and in high school I worked at Record Town. And I remember the weekend that we took all the LPs out, boxed them up, shipped them off somewhere, and replaced them with CDs. We emptied the bins of records and replaced them all with CDs. Yep. It was a big transition in the store. Yep. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. Some dude, the guy that owned Jason, there was a store called Record Room down in like the east side of town in Glens Falls, and the guy that owned that was Ray. He came and bought up the boxes and boxes of LPs from us and bins for his LP. So like that all came from Record Town when we emptied out. It's pretty crazy.
Hmm.
I wish I had them now.
Yeah, I wish I still had my collection too.
I have some, I guess.
Yeah, I saved some too, but I didn't.
Hey, Bob, I was going to say your studio looks pretty good over there.
Yeah, we were telling him it was looking really snazzy.
Well, thank you very much.
Are you recording anything now?
It probably looks better on camera. This is the whole thing. I record all the time. I mean,
no, I mean, have you got a project on?
It's a small. Have I got like? Am I recording right now? Right now, I'm talking to you.
No, I mean, have you got
So,
have you got a specific project going right now?
I have a couple. Yeah, I mean, we're doing a new Distractions record all remotely. So I'm working on that. We've just finished like songs so far on that. One Jason's got. He's going to play on his radio show, and then I've got my own Static Dive stuff, the solo stuff. I do that kind of all the time. I have a new song coming out in a couple weeks. It's actually a collaboration I do with a buddy of mine in England, my buddy Tim. So he and I worked on a song together, and I do stuff all the time. I have other little solo things I'm working on too. So,
Jason, hey Jason, are you doing anything?
This room is about this.
Go ahead, Bob. Tell me about your room.
I mean, it looks like sweet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say you did. What's that?
It looks like sweet fish from here.
Well, it's like I said. This is the entire studio. Like it's not. There isn't any other. There's no other space. So it's like an 8x12 room. I just have everything I own jammed into it. So that's it. It looks cool from this angle.
Jim, where are you? Where
Looks
are you
messy from any other angle.
In his backyard.
I'm in my backyard.
Nice. Fresh air.
Yeah.
With the dog. He's been out in the backyard a few times now. He's like my Andy Rooney. I could have him on just about every week to tell me something smart.
Is anybody watching?
There's a few people watching.
Oh, anybody have any questions?
I haven't seen any yet. Nothing's popped up yet. Anybody out there got questions for Jason or Bob or Jim? I'm not answering any questions. Send them over. So did there? I'm trying to kind of get a feel for when you transfer from young bad boy, when you kind of grow out of young bad boy into older, mature, serious musician. Not you, Jason. I know you're not going to be able to answer this question.
I'm setting this one out.
Yeah. Okay. So Bob, let's talk to you about this. Did you get to a point?
Sure.
And what was the catalyst that made you flip the switch, I guess you'd say, from the party boy, from a party boy. Okay, party boy. Go from party boy to serious musician because you did, and that's
Well, I don't know if I would phrase it that. I would. The party. I mean, you at some point. Well, whatever. I don't know how much Jason knows me well. I drank a lot for a long time and frequently on a daily basis, and you just can't do that for years. You end up not being able to do it anymore. So
you hear that, Jason? You can't do that forever.
I heard it. I got it.
I'm not talking to Jason. I'm just talking. You asked me about me. So anyway, I quit drinking a couple times. Actually, I quit drinking when I was in my late 20s for like 7 years, and then I started up again, and then 4.5 years ago or so I quit again. So and it's mostly just a matter of health and survival and everything else. So I mean now I'm like a monk. I'm vegan. I don't drink. I don't smoke.
You don't eat meat.
I just sit in my little room,
And you don't eat meat? You're vegan?
I don't eat. Yeah, I'm vegan. I don't eat meat or any animal products at all.
Well, that's why you look so good.
There you go. So, I don't know. Well, whatever. But anyway, the catalyst for it all was just I don't know. You don't map out your life. I didn't anyway. From each day, I'm very much a sort of kind of Zen Buddhist wannabe. So I just kind of exist in the moment. What works for me today works for me today. So at some point, partying all the time didn't work for me anymore, so I did something else.
Yeah,
That's
see,
really
I'm OCD. I gotta have a plan. And I'm not like really OCD, but as far as my life goes, I gotta have a plan. So I always had a routine.
John Lennon said, "Plans are what's going on." No, life is what's
life
going
is what
on when you're
happens
busy
when you're busy making other plans. Yeah, busy
Right,
making other
right.
plans.
Yeah.
Well, I think I kind of got my eye in the rearview mirror watching the life while I'm making the plans. Jason.
What? There you go.
Spur of the moment or routines and plans? How do you live it? How do you live your existence?
Well, yeah, I've kind of always been a little bit of a cowboy when it comes to that kind of stuff. I just kind of, I'd have a loose. I'm getting better at planning stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have Google Calendar now.
Oh, well done!
Congratulations.
Versus like bar napkins and stuff like that.
Yeah, but do you have like a retirement account and that sort of thing? You put money away for a rainy day.
Let me get you the number here. The number is
send it over. I'll hack into it and take all your money.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't party like I used to. I'm a little older now. I'm a homeowner now. It's it's not. I have a 15, and my son just turned 15.
Mm-hmm.
Just 2 days ago, by the way.
How old's your daughter, Bob, now?
She is 16. She is awesome.
Wow.
She's an artist, and that's my relationship with my daughter, I think, has always been a big impetus for me to be a better person. So I think that's another answer to the whole partying thing.
She's a great artist.
Try to be a good man.
She's a really good
artist.
Really
is. She's very, very talented.
She did one of your album covers, I think, right? Or single covers?
She does all of my Static Dive artwork. So if you looked up the Static Dive on Spotify, I have a bunch of songs that released over the last year or two, and all of the covers are my daughter's artwork.
That's awesome.
And, so she's 50 stress balls. She's gonna get mad at me for saying that, but anyway, that's her Instagram account, 50 stress balls, and you can see all kinds of art there.
So
she's great.
God, I don't know where I want to go with this. I was hoping to talk to Joe Mansman about the current.
I also have a girlfriend I would head that takes zero baloney. So.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Because a lot of your girlfriends took a lot of baloney.
Yeah, I know, and I'm sorry. I really am.
Jason is good. Jason was good at pulling the wool over people's eyes when he was.
Oh, come on now.
A rock star. He used to be a rock star. He even wrote a song about it. He used to be a rock star. Current climate and this COVID-19 thing. How is it messing with your? I mean, I know it's messing with Jason's life, but is it messing with your ability to create? And Bob, what do you think? Has it done anything other than give you more time to create, or?
Yeah, I mean that's really. I mean, I measure success. I mean, I got a day job, so and I continued to work through all this, but I work at home a lot more. And I've got some more time off, like this coming week, I'm off for the week. So yeah, I'm going to basically hang out in this room and record music for most of that time.
That's awesome.
So, I probably have gotten more creative as a result of quarantining.
Cool.
I would think.
So now we're going to see some more good stuff. Jason, I know that, you've been climbing the walls during the COVID-19. So, but did you write anything? You doing any songs? I think that you were working on something.
I'm basically an out of work musician and DJ right now. It's my full-time gig. So I'm completely out of work. So I did a couple of the live shows and, I did one for you and a couple other things. I got a little bored with that quick. So that's why I decided I'm working on a film. So I think
everybody got bored with it because they suddenly dropped off the face of the earth. I think it's because a lot of people were doing it. And it was just suddenly saturated for like 2 weeks. And everybody's like, yeah, well, I don't want to do this anymore.
I actually haven't done a lot of music. I could have done a lot of writing or a lot of other stuff, but I just put all my time into this film that I'm working on.
Yeah, and we made a great video.
Oh, we did do the video at the beginning of this, yes.
Yes, at the beginning of COVID.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what else I want to talk about. What do you want to talk about, Jim? What do you want to know?
I actually want to hear more about Jason's video and stuff. I've seen a lot of it online.
Oh, about the movie?
Just wanted to see, yeah, I'm actually excited to hear more about that. But for me, you know, I'm waiting for the live shows. Kind of hard to do what I do without the live shows, but I have been able to go into like the live streams when bands have gotten together. You know, I can go in there, go into different venues. It's kind of given me some time to collect my thoughts and figure out what direction I want to take Nippertown since I've taken it over. You know, and I've worked on my backyard. You know, I've got put in a patio. I mean, it's, you know, the stuff around the house that's gotten done has just been amazing. So I'm, you know, I try to always be creative and be, you know, positive and constructive with my time. So, but yeah, no, I want to hear more about Jason's project because I've seen it online, and I know a lot of people have been interviewed and stuff, and I'm anxious to see when it's going to come out, and I want to review it.
Jason and I were just talking about it earlier when he was in my car. He's going to start working on putting it together and whatever. You got a couple more interviews. What was it, Jason? You were giving me the update.
A few more things to do. I've interviewed over 100 people though, and
Jesus,
it's a lot. It's got bigger than I thought it was going to be, and I ended up going to testing sites, and I'm going to be interviewing a New York State senator, and it's like I can't say no to some of this stuff, so I got to just keep. It grew. So I got enough material to have 2 seasons of a series, really. So I'm gonna have to cut it down, and I'll probably do another expanded version of it, maybe a YouTube like the full interviews or something. But it's just people and their experiences during, in the area, in their experiences during the pandemic. It's not news.
You've got to get your agent out there. You've got to get the agent you have for Phillips Head out there selling this. Your manager, your agent.
I think you're talking to him.
You're talking to him.
You mean the Phillips Head girls?
No, I know.
The Phillips Head girls will sell your video.
You know, I'm
not.
movie.
They're not girls anymore, though.
Yeah.
The movie, the COVID-19 documentary or whatever he's calling it today, is it I mean, how'd you shoot it? Is it just,
all different things? I've done a lot of Zoom interviews because of social distancing.
Right.
I've done a lot of just people self-recording and sending them to me. And also I've done a lot of in-person socially distant interviews. So, I mean, the formats are all different, and everything's all different. The quality's all different. It's about content though. The content is it's amazing.
Yeah, but when you start putting that together, you're going to find out that's tough.
Nah, it's all right. We'll be fine.
Yeah, okay.
Let me know if you need any background music.
Oh, yeah, I could write some background music to go with it.
I actually haven't decided if I'm doing music or to what extent yet, but I think I'll determine that when I start putting it together.
Right on.
So, Jim, I want to talk about Nippertown because, like you mentioned, you took it over and you're trying to see where you're going to go with it. What do you think? You think Nippertown? I know we talked about this, I think, last week about in the media about the role you have in the local scene. But what do you think sites like Nippertown do to help make these guys successful? Let's put it that way. There's so many little blogs. There's so many small people, little people here and there, music fans or whatever, writing this blog or that blog or running this website or that website. Tell me what Nippertown is going to do.
Well, so for Nippertown, because, I mean, Greg ran it for 10 years. It kind of has been like a staple for people in the Albany area to kind of go to and find out what's going on this weekend. And so that's something that I've continued on. and so calendar is important. Letting people know what shows are coming up, what shows are being announced, kind of our picks of the week and whatnot, local or even national coming in. But we try to be more geared toward local. And one of the things we wanted to do when we took over Nippertown was expand it beyond just music and art and get more into the culture and community. And I think COVID kind of helped push that because there isn't the live music. So last Saturday I did cover like the Black Lives March in Albany, and today I was out in Troy covering that because there's not shows to cover, And but with Nippertown, 30 to 40,000 unique views a month. He didn't have a Facebook page when I took it over. We've got a little over 7,000 followers, almost 7,000 likes, and over 7,000 followers, and about 6,000 on Twitter. And so we have a pretty good reach, and I think what happens is a lot of people go back to it and say, what's going on this weekend? And that's where we can help musicians is remind people so they have one place, because I think Facebook has it all, but they have it all. They have almost too much. They have every cover band in every club. They have and we do focus on original music. That's something that I've always been geared, key to. I think the cover bands are important, especially for little community, communities like Saratoga, but I do lean toward original. I just feel like it's raw. It's the musician up there. They feel it. I mean, these guys can attest to that. Like that, it's got to be more enjoyable to play your own song than it is to play somebody else's. Especially if you get that positive reception. But I think that's our role, is to keep everything sort of rolling and organized and let people know what's going on. Get some press out there for some of the local artists. Today we published something, a local artist that was doing design, paintings on some of the plywood that came up. Local artists kind of volunteered their time, and it's stuff that commercial media won't cover. And I think it's important that it is covered because we have so much talent, not just musically, but arts and poetry, and the Capital Region rocks, man. I mean, we're just bleeding with talent, and there's nowhere for everybody to kind of be seen. And that's all a lot of these guys. It's really all a lot of these artists need is just to be seen, and I hope, at some point, maybe somebody who's starting out is seen on Nippertown, and somebody who, it's, I know we have a lot of followers down in like the Woodstock area and a handful in New York and whatnot. And maybe somebody is seen and picked up, or it helps drive that traffic to them. But we also collaborate with a lot of different media outlets, Nippertown, because this isn't my day job. It's not my full-time thing. It's my passion. I have my day job with my 401k and all that boring shit that I never thought I would have in the 90s, right?
But now you're thinking about it in your 40s.
What's a 401? Yeah, right. So I have the 401k and I have my retirement, and so Nippertown is my outlet, and look, over the years, I've gotten to meet and photograph. Yesterday was the 5-year anniversary of me meeting and Robert Plant, photographing and meeting Robert Plant back, and
awesome.
Those are some pretty cool experiences, where I got to tell him to look at the camera, and like, hey, the shot is about you. Look at the he's camera shy. Who figured out? Who would have thought that Robert Plant was camera shy, And I got to yell at him a little bit like, hey, I'm here doing my job. Look at me. And he looked up. He kind of looked from behind the person and looked at me and smiled like, who the hell's talking? Like telling me. And when he did it, I was ready. I got the shot. Boom, done. And then afterward, I talked to him and said thanked and stuff. And he touched my arm. And I was like, do I wash my arm? Do I not wash my arm? Do I wash my arm? But it's been washed. At least a couple times.
I haven't washed my hands since Bob gave me a high five back in 1997.
Yeah.
See, I agree with that. So, yeah,
Don't wash this hand, Bob. Touch me.
and it's
That's
and,
fantastic.
and Steph, our job as the media is to share some stories that people don't normally get. So sometimes we can make an artist personalized, and if we can do that with a local artist, even a national artist, I think people feel more connected to them.
Mhm.
I think Jace would appreciate, like a few years ago, I was talking to Moby and I was like, Moby, what the hell do you listen to? And he's like, well, right now I'm going through a Pantera stage. I was like, what? Wait,
Pantera.
like Moby was
Moby.
listening to Pantera and that's what he was listening to. And I was like, wow, and then like a few nights before that, I was shooting Phil Anselmo and, so we get to have those conversations and we get to kind of share those with our audience. And that's
I
nice.
have a lot of stories I can't share.
Well, there's a handful I can't share.
A lot. I have a lot of stories I can't share.
Yeah.
And it's because I am so ingrained in the local scene. A lot of these bands, we're on really personal terms, like Jason and I. Known them for a long time, did a lot of work with people and whatever. And some people just like to dump, or let me say, lean on me a little bit with their stories. And I know more things than I really probably want to. And if I were to put those stories out, it might not help the local scene. So then I got to be really careful about what I talk about.
I mean, there's definitely a fine line. But, you know me. I mean, Jason doesn't. He knows we know of each other, and Bob. We're just kind of met. But people when we meet, we sit down in the green room, or we sit down and we after a gig or whatever we talk. I don't know what it is. People pour their heart out.
Yeah.
I've had rock stars cry. Like guys who metalheads that we've been in the back and we get talking about something, and they're all of a sudden they're in tears remembering this or that, and when do they realize it? Yeah.
I think it's the emotional aspect of their music that gets to them. And when they're coming off stage, all of that is washing down or whatever. And that's when you get a lot of the stories and a lot of the raw emotion that they have.
I don't cry after shows.
You don't cry after shows?
No.
You sure?
No, from the back. It's from the back of the cop cart a little bit after the. That's when I start crying.
You said you brought cops into it, not me.
By the way, our
Steph, I was just thinking when Jim.
Go ahead.
No, it's all right.
Go ahead, Bob. Bob, go.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I was just going to say, while Jim was talking, I was thinking you could do a whole nother show with the three of us about exactly that, writing about and writing for the local music scene. I mean, obviously Jason's done it. I did it for a long time. Jim's got a Nippertown. I mean, we could do another hour of just talking about what it's like to cover, unsigned musicians and local musicians.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
And you guys probably, when you guys go to a show, one of the things that aggravates me is people that show up for the headliner or don't even show up for the headliner. They show up like 5 songs into the headliner. What blows my mind. So when I cover a show, I get there super early. I get there early and I kind of find my spot, figure out, talk, whatever. I want to see every opener because it's when you see some of those openers that you go, well, screw the headliner. This is the person who you really, this is who you want to see because they just blow your mind and you're like, oh my God, you found something, but I don't understand people who, a show starts at 8 and they show up at 10, I don't get it.
Because they're clearly not there for the music. They're there for the social. They're there for the social aspect of it. They're not there for the music.
I mean, I don't know about Bob, but I know Jason, you throw a ton of shows up in Glens Falls, right? Do you find that too? Like the opening bands, just maybe their mom shows up, or maybe
It depends. I mean, if it's at a bar, some people go to a bar just for the bar, and the music is just something that's going on in the background. They could care less, so they go out a little later. But you see people that are really into the bands will show up earlier.
All right, I got a question. Probably the last question for us. Oh, but Jason, you were about to say something about that comment I made. Did you want to continue with that?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that my girlfriend was one of the OG Phillips Head girls back in the '90s, and she's still hot. So you look at.
Oh my God. Okay.
Howdy.
That's enough. We got a couple of minutes. I wanted to ask about
Want to see my taser?
no. And I don't want to see anything else either. Can we talk about what the new normal, you think what the new normal is going to be when this phase 4 comes along and we are allowed to go out and do live music again? What do you think the new normal is going to be? Or do you have an idea, or do you have any thoughts whatsoever about it?
I thought it was going to be different. I thought it was going to be less people and social distancing, but I was just at a protest with 11,000 people. And I think if people are really into a band or really anxious to go out, they're not going to give a shit. They might wear a mask or whatever, but I think they're still going to be packed into shows and stuff. I was worried about it, but seeing all the protests and seeing how many people are showing up, and I can see the same thing being at shows. But that's my 2 cents.
Maybe not at the very beginning, because they're doing like 25% capacity in certain places and stuff like that.
Well, that's the rules. But when those rules are relaxed, I think people are going to show up.
When after the rules are relaxed.
Yeah.
Jason, you got any thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I think people are dying to get back out into the scene, and people are dying to play again. The bars want to be open, they want to make money, bands want to play, and people want to see live music. They want to see. I think we're going to see us. Obviously, like you were saying about the rules of the capacity or whatever. Those are the rules of the rules. You can only allow so many people in at first, and the bars are going to open before music is allowed too. By the way,
yeah,
so that's going to happen. But I think once it's a go, I think we're going to see a surge in attendance at shows, just because people want it. Maybe it's like they didn't realize what they had until it was gone, like one of those things. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I hope so.
Bob, have any thoughts on that?
I think the guys are right that people are going to come out. I hope it's okay. Like I there are a couple of things that I miss. Like I go to Yankee games every year with my girlfriend Sarah, and I miss that. And I go to Comic-Con every year. That's my T-shirt from. And that's that's not going to happen. I mean, it's like 150,000 people at the Javits Center. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even if it does happen, I don't think I'll go. So because it is scary, and the virus does still exist, and and until it's gone, I think that it's gonna, we're gonna change from week to week what we think is going to happen, what we think should happen, what we think people are going to do, because nobody knows. We don't know.
Sure.
I think it'd be great to see people at a show, safe for them to do so.
Yep. My husband actually I want just to mention your shirt. My husband actually went into a TARDIS at BBC. I just want to let you know that. It was a real TARDIS, one they used.
That's awesome.
I've got a picture. And he stood next to a real Dalek. And I've got a picture of that too.
Oh.
At the BBC, we have a friend that works at the BBC, and when he was home, because he's from England, he got the tour of the BBC where they had the TARDIS and the Dalek and some other Doctor Who stuff. The Whovies are always jealous of these pictures,
fantastic.
but yeah, he got to actually go in one.
Yeah.
It's just a box. It's just an old police box. Well, I want to thank you guys for stepping in, especially Jason, for filling in. And sorry we missed you, Mike and Joe, and Eric. I'm live streaming from the Strand Theater on Thursday. No audience, obviously.
Who's playing?
Across the Pond, the Beatles tribute band.
And
then I'm back here next Sunday with No More Death Stars, the indie band from Glens Falls. They're going to all be here. We're going to talk to them about them. I'm interested in listening to Kevin talk about his songwriting and stuff like that. So that's going to be next week. And I hope to see some of you back here. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Jim, as always.
thank you.
And I'll speak to you all very soon. I hope everybody stays safe and stays healthy.
Bye, guys.
Don't
Thank
take any
you.
risks.
Thank
And,
you.
and go protest if
See
you
you
want to. Good night.
Right on.